Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here with some more Hearthstone ranked action. Haven't done one of these spotlight videos in a while, and I've got a pretty good occasion to do so, I think. My friend Dan sent me a list this morning of a mage deck he'd been playing that, in addition to being a solid and fun deck, shows off a lot of the new mechanics from Naxxramas. So let's go ahead and build the deck and play a sample game in this video. In the next video, we'll just play some more games with it. So Naxxramas introduced a couple of minions that basically point to what I would call an obvious way of constructing the deck. One of the minions is Undertaker. So 1/2 for 1 mana that whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, it gets +1/+1, which means that if you get even one minion to fire on the Undertaker, it becomes a 2/3 for 1 mana, which is a great deal, especially since there are no drawbacks. So one obvious path you can take is, okay, take an Undertaker and then fill the rest of the deck with Death Rattle minions. The other minion that points to an obvious deck is the Mad Scientist. So this one is a 2/2 for 2, which is just one stat point away from the norm, and the Death Rattle is pretty interesting. You put a secret from your deck onto the battlefield for free. Mages, of course, benefit the most from this because mage secrets are the most expensive, so they get the greatest value for having those secrets played for free. Now, typically the problem with decks I've seen that use Undertaker and then a bunch of Death Rattle or Mad Scientist and a bunch of secrets is that you end up diluting your deck with so much junk that the deck doesn't work very well. This deck, however, uses both, so we can kind of pick and choose the best available options for both of these archetypes and not dilute the deck with too much bad stuff. So first, for the Undertaker, let's put in some quality Death Rattle minions. We'll get in a Leper Gnome, Pair, for some aggression and some extra damage to the opponent's face. We'll put in some nice 2-drops. So the Haunted Creeper is a new card from Naxxramas. It's a 1/2 that when it dies pops out a pair of 1/1s. We'll put in the classic Loot Hoarder for some card draw. And of course, the Nerubian Egg. It's a 0/2 for 2. It gives a 4/4 Nerubian to you when it dies. I think this is actually, I'm going to say this is my favorite card from the Naxxramas expansion because it's a bit conditional, but there's so many ways to make use of it that it's just a good time to play with. And at the 3 mana level, we'll put in some Harvest Golems, which is just an all-time classic. Now, for the Mad Scientist side of things, we'll pick and choose the best secrets. And Dan, I think, chose really the 3 best if you're going to have 3 secrets in your deck. These are the new Mage Secret Duplicate. When a minion dies, put 2 copies of it into your hand. The Mirror Entity, which is a way to steal your opponent's best minions if the opponent's not careful, and Vaporize. Now, what's interesting about this deck is it doesn't really have the traditional mage cards you'd expect. Pretty much none of them. There's no Fireballs, Polymorphs, Flame Strikes, Blizzards, none of that stuff is here. So the Vaporize, although it's not my favorite removal card in the game, it does provide removal to a deck that otherwise wouldn't have it. Further capitalizing on the secrets is the Kirin Tor Mage, and I think this is a pretty good inclusion if you're going to play with Mad Scientist, because that way, if you draw your secrets, you might still get a chance to play them for free if you can get the Kirin Tor Mage at the same time. Now, contributing further to the Death Rattle effects, let's go ahead and pop in some legendaries. This is not a budget deck. So we're adding in the new legendary from Naxxramas, Baron Rivendare. So 1/7 for 4 mana, kind of like a Mogushan Warden, except instead of Taunt, it makes your minions' Death Rattles trigger twice. So you get, 2 damaged golems, 2 4/4s, 2 secrets from the deck, etc. And it's, nobody ever really wants to spend time and resources killing a 1/7, but the opponent will kind of have to, because otherwise you're just going to get too much insane value from your other minions. At the 5 mana level, we're going to throw in the Fugadin and Stalag, so we're using a lot of the Naxxramas legendaries, which are, as long as you bought the wings, technically free. So the deck's not quite as expensive as it looks. These have the same Death Rattle, which is basically that if the other one dies, you get Thaddeus. If the other one has died, you get Thaddeus, and Thaddeus is an 11/11. What's cool about these guys, apart from the synergy, is that they actually have 11 stat points for 5 mana, and 11 stat points is what you would expect a neutral 5 mana minion to have. And that means that these actually fill a role in the game that no other minion does because there are no neutral 5 mana minions in Hearthstone. So like Fugan in particular, a 4/7 for 5, you could just put this into a deck, even if you don't put Stalag in. A 4/7 for 5 is a really great card. So even though it's a legendary, that's kind of deceptive almost. I mean, you can just put this into any old deck, and a 4/7 for 5 is going to be pretty great. Alright, let's go ahead into the 6 mana level. We're going to grab Sylvanas. It's a solid 6-drop and has a very good Death Rattle, so it works on multiple accounts. I suppose you could also put in Cairn, who has a Death Rattle and is a pretty good creature. Dan chose Sylvanas. I don't know, it's a tough call there. what's better. I think more playtesting would be required before we could find out. And then we'll also reach up and grab good old Baron here to damage all other characters. Again, add some more removal to the deck. And Kel'Thuzad. Kel'Thuzad's a very interesting Nextrammus legendary. He's the one you get last at the very end of the last wing. He's a 6/8 for 8, which stat-wise is pretty crappy. I mean, that's like basically as good as a War Golem, but for an extra mana. However, that extra mana buys you a pretty sweet ability, which is that all your minions respawn at the end of each turn if they have died. So note that it says this turn and at the end of each turn, not just your turns, but your opponent's turns. This means that your opponent is forced to kill Kel'Thuzad, because if the opponent leaves Kel'Thuzad alone, all your minions just keep respawning, and that's obviously a disaster. The last thing we'll put in is, for some defense, a couple of Sludge Belchers. So these provide a pretty nice roll to the deck. They give Taunt to protect you, but they also have a Death Rattle, so they beef up your Undertakers, and they trigger with the Baron and all that good stuff. Alright, Dan called this the Death Mage deck. I'm gonna call this Mage-a-Death. Get it? Because there's a punk band called Mega... Okay, well anyway, we're gonna just go ahead and move on and play our sample game. Haven't played ranked yet this season. I think you have to get to, like, what is it, rank 20 or something to get the card back. So I will try to at least get that far each season, amass a nice collection of card backs. I think the latest one, the icy one, is quite pretty, and I will use it. In fact, I should really have changed to it. Can I change to it now? Oh, yes. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There we go. Ice Crown. Managed to sneak that in there before the game started. Are there not a lot of people at rank 23? What's the problem? Come on, game. I will play in casual if I need to, but... Okay, let's just try this one more time. Maybe going into the options menu while it was spinning screwed it up. Who knows? While this is loading, I'm going to go ahead and eat a strawberry Nutri-Grain bar. Yesterday, my girlfriend and I went to the store called Inner Market. It's like this... store that has a lot of Eastern European, mostly Russian foods. I got some pickles, and I got some real mustard. I'm pretty much an American. I was 6 years old when I moved here from the Soviet Union, so I'm basically an American, but like there are a few ways in which I kind of distinguish myself, and one of the things is that you Americans do not know what the fuck mustard is. For years, I was so frustrated after moving here, because what passed for mustard in America was this, like, you know, sweet stuff. It's supposed to be, like, strong and make your nose water and all that stuff. That's what mustard's supposed to do. So anyway, I got some of that. Really excited. Now I just need to find some things to put it on, I guess. Anyway, that was a good passage of time conversation. This is not actually a really great hand for this deck, although we do have a 2-drop. It's resistant to removal. There's enough 1-drops here, Leper Gnomes, Undertakers, and then, you know, enough 2-drops, Mad Scientists, and Loot Hoarders that I would have hoped for a little bit of a faster start. Duplicate is maybe not my favorite secret to play on turn 3. I'd much rather have Mirror Entity because that gives much more board presence. Duplicate is good for card advantage, but Mirror Entity is better for board presence. So, this is a pretty slow start. Now, we're playing here against JMan0142. He's a priest. He's at rank 23. So, hopefully, you know, this is a deck that's not super fine-tuned, and he also gets off to a slow start so we don't just get steamrolled. Whole grain strawberry goodness. Are you going to make a move, JMan0142? Oh, my God. Best spotlight video ever. No, he's hovering over stuff. He's not AFK. Okay. Okay. Oh, Leper Gnome. One turn too late there, buddy. So next turn I have a difficult call between Leper Gnome or the Secret. I think probably Leper Gnome would be the play. Even though it doesn't use up my mana, I need to get some board presence established. Okay. Well, Harvest Golem makes me kind of change my mind a little bit because the Leper Gnome would just die to nothing. Nerubian Egg. Well, I can't really kill this egg myself at the moment. So I guess I'll just play a duplicate here. I'm swing by. Note that, of course, due to a patch as of a few months ago, your secrets do not trigger on your own turn. Blizzard got that one out just in time for Nextrammus. Some of the Nextrammus secrets would just be outstandingly insane if you could trigger them on your turn. So running the spider into the golem would not have been wise there. He now knows it's not ice armor or vaporize, but he probably suspects it's duplicate. Why? Because it's a new secret, and you know, it's trendy now. Also, it's a strong secret, so it's a pretty good count. Usually, back in the olden days, if you attack someone and nothing happened, you'd know it was like, oh yeah, and you know it was probably a mirror entity, because that's the other most common one. But now you have to really decide if it's a mirror entity or duplicate. Handful of 5-drops, not the greatest. Stalag is not my favorite thing to play either, since it dies to Shadow Word Death. We have a questing adventurer situation here, which is a problem, because I don't have any good ways of killing this questing adventurer. So he triggers my duplicate on the leper gnomes. I think I'm going to have to play Stalag, because that's my only hope for killing this stupid questing adventurer. Alright, now Vaporize is interesting. The problem is that this golem is going to come back. I could, you know what, I could out of just desperation play Vaporize. We'll try it. I think I have to do it. So I can cash out my spiders, use my overpowered hero ability to kill that thing. Pass turn. I think I gotta go for it, because otherwise this questing adventurer, this deck doesn't really have a way of dealing with it. There's no silence, and there's no polymorph. This deck really wants a fast start to establish board presence and be able to kill things. Otherwise, something dumb like this can just get out of hand. Oh god. Is he playing with inner fire combos? Oh, Mind Blast. This is going to be an embarrassing loss. Luckily, this person chooses to ignore the threat of Vaporize. That is a big deal. And the questing adventurer gets killed. So now I gotta choose between Mirror Entity to steal a minion or to play my own minion. I will actually play Stalag here. The reason for this is that if he uses Shadow Word Death to kill it, that's a Shadow Word that he won't be able to use on other things, and that'll take up half of his mana. He hopefully won't have much to do with the rest of his turn if he spent 3 mana killing this thing, and then I'll be able to play out a Sludge Belcher and a Leper Gnome and actually get some board presence going here. Man, that was a clutch Vaporize. If that questing adventurer were alive and he had a Shadow Word Death for the Stalag, I'd be in real trouble. I made a slight misplay on my last turn. I should have attacked him with one spider and the Lightwell with the other, so it would have either healed itself or him. This way, all the damage that I dealt essentially got healed up. Nerubian Egg, even though this deck doesn't have too many ways of killing it, there's not, you know, any buffing or a lot of self-killing stuff, apart, of course, from the Mage's Own hero ability. It is pretty nice to have just in general as a counter to mass removal. Alright, I wish I'd played Mirror Entity, then I could have gotten a Sunwalker out of the deal. I could play it this turn, and in fact, I think I will do so. I think it's worth it. He's clearly got some good minions saved up. We'll go ahead and pop Stalag against that Sunwalker. We'll hit that once, do it correctly this time, hit him in the face, play another Leper Gnome, call it a day. Lightwell chooses to heal him. Well, that should make the Lightwell easier to kill this turn, hopefully. If he has a Holy Nova, he should probably just play it, even though I get a 4/4, it's worth it. Alright, Mirror Entity gets a Light Warden, which isn't the greatest thing. But if he were to, you know, heal stuff, mine would get bigger just as well as his would. So he has to kill this before he can really go too crazy killing, healing up and buffing his own. It's going to take me a lot to kill off that Fen Creeper, unfortunately. Ah, boy. Alright. Don't have a good answer to the Fen Creeper, so I will cash out both Leper Gnomes, a Spider, and then we'll kill off his Light Warden. So now the Lightwell is going to heal one of his things, and mine is actually going to get buffed. My Light Warden is getting buffed here by that, so he's got to really take out that Light Warden soon. Card-wise, I'm not doing that great. I'm doing even worse now. Hopefully he's still a mad scientist or something dumb because he has no secrets. That would be a waste for him. He's gonna kill my Sludge Belcher. Shadow Word Pain. This, by the way, is why I think Sludge Belcher is just better than a Fen Creeper. Because, you know, the extra health on the Fen Creeper is not as good as this slime coming back after the creature dies. Sure, the Fen Creeper is better if it gets silenced and stuff like that, but overall I think Sludge Belcher is just a better minion. Looks like he's got a Holy Smite or something. No, another Shadow Word Pain for his Light Warden. That wasn't the sexiest mirror entity ever. Obviously, if I'd done it the turn before, I would have gotten a Sunwalker. But still, can't really complain. It took out a removal spell and it helped kill his own Light Warden. So I damaged the Light Well again to, you know, make it so he's not going to be guaranteed to heal himself. However, he did. The Light Well still won the coin flip and healed his face. I'm thinking maybe what this deck does need, like, at least a way to get rid of Nerubian Egg. There's Baron Geddon, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, I don't think there's anything in here that, I mean, other than the Mage and, you know, pinging the Nerubian Egg over time. Really, if you're killing this with the Mage's hero ability, it's not a really efficient use. I mean, yes, you get a 4/4 for 2 mana, but it's 2 mana plus another 4 that you spend killing it. You might as well just put a minion into your deck at that point. Okay. So Sylvanas is a nice find here. Might be able to steal one of his minions. We'll also run in there. Do I want to cash out my golem or do the slime plus a ping? Well, let's do slime plus ping. So I can keep this golem hale and hearty and get these new spiders out here. So at this point I could actually, I'm threatening to run Sylvanas into the Ventricle Mercenary and steal it. Provided, of course, I can get this Lightwell to die. I could also just kill the Lightwell and leave the Ventricle Mercenary alive. Yeah, I'm not going to have enough mana to kill the, or damage to kill the Lightwell. I'm only going to have 4 power, and the Lightwell healed itself. So yeah, running Sylvanas into the Ventricle would be foolish. The Ventricle would now die, and Sylvanas would steal a Lightwell. I don't really want the Lightwell. I'd rather just kill the Lightwell and steal something else later. You must consider Undertaker. Alright, he's playing with an Undertaker? Has there really been that much death rattle? Oh, he's got a Leper Gnome. Okay, touche. And a heal for... He's trying to let this Vertigo Mercenary die, it seems. Alright, so Fugan is really a nice find because... the other one's already died, so now I will get my 11/11. The question here is, what do I want to do? Well, I think killing the Lightwell seems like a good move. Killing the Leper Gnome seems like a good move. I don't really want to cash out my spiders right now because there wouldn't be enough room for them. Oh, no, there would. I would have just enough room. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. I'll cash out the spiders. Damage the Harvest Golem, but not quite kill it. Swing for 1. What do we have here? Is this Vaporize? Yes. So not relevant at the moment because I do have a Taunter, but that should come in handy at some point soon. Well, this is turning into quite the involved Spotlight video. Perhaps getting rid of a minion or two and putting in some polymorphs wouldn't hurt this deck too much, but I'll keep it the way it is. Stick true to Dan's design for now. Another Mind Blast! Alright, so that's a bit of card advantage for me. 2 times now. I have a Harvest Golem. Okay, so I got a couple of options. I could trade Fugan in for the Ventrico and then get Thaddeus. I could kill Ventrico with Sylvanas and get nothing. That's not so good. Or I could cash out my Golem and these 2 spiders and keep both of these big creatures out. Well, why don't I do that? After all, having these big bodies on the board gives me some power. It helps me kill off the stuff that he might play. And these Golem and spiders are not that valuable. So here's an opportunity to kill Sylvanas without having it trigger. Looks like he's going to do just that, Shadow Word Death. That's interesting. So it means that after Fugen dies, he either needs to have his other Shadow over Death to kill Thaddeus, or a Mind Control. My girlfriend plays a priest deck exclusively, of course, and one cool trick that's come up for priests in particular is if one of the pair, of Fugen and Stalag, dies, and you mind control the other one, it's just really devastating, because if the opponent kills it, like if he were to mind control this and I killed it, he'd get the Thaddeus. Because, you know, it's not that Stalag had to die for you, it's that Stalag had to die in general. So if both people are playing with this pair of cards, then you can potentially have Thaddeus all over the place. Alright, I will go ahead and just ping the egg. I almost clicked on the spider there. If he wants to heal the egg, I guess he can, but I figure I might as well get this egg thing going. Yeah, I think like a way besides Baron Geddon to get rid of the egg, to pop your own egg, would be nice. Either Defender of Argus, that'd probably be the most logical one, or some kind of a buffing thing. Because right now there's not quite enough. Oh, there's a second egg. Well, swingity, swangity, swingity, swingle. Let's get our Nerubian here, which is annoying for priests to deal with. Obviously, priests do not like anything that has 4 attack. And 4 health means it's dodging Holy Novas and Holy Smites. Hopefully we can whittle him down soon, before he gets his mind control for Fugen. If he does mind control Fugen, I have 4, 6, 7, 8 damage. He'll be down to 5 health. You know, some card draw would be nice in this deck, too. This is a very fun deck, but I don't think this deck will take you to Legendary. It's a good thing I killed the egg in time, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten it at all. Now I just have this O2 that's going to do nothing for me. And this guy's ability is lost, so that's sad. So it's just a 4/7. Alright, well, Duplicate is interesting. It might get totally wasted if he kills the spider first, but if he doesn't have that kind of surgical precision, I might be able to, you know, recast Fugen and have the ability to reset with the Golem. And, I mean, he's got to do something here. He's getting very low on health. Mind Control no longer does enough. Holy Nova doesn't really save him. 2 Holy Novas would kill off everything, except for Mr. Fugen here. Well, he's got 1. Oh, is Duplicate going to give me the spider? So the reason I got the spider off the Duplicate is that the spider was the earliest creature played. Anytime you have a thing that happens all at the same time, it's whatever was the earliest thing that gets triggered. He's going to Shadow Form, which is cute and all, but he is dead now, so I don't know what the point of all that was. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and or subscribe if you did. And I'll be back soon with some more games with this deck. Take care, folks.